Hey guys, so in my last video, I asked everybody to draw a shape and send it to me, and I would use my abilities as a therapist to analyze your shape and tell you what problems you're having subconsciously so that I could help you heal from those and you could move on and live a happier life. Now, I previously mentioned that I believe this is about $1,000 value that I'm giving you for free, but after seeing your images and realizing how good I am at therapizing people, I would actually say this is more of a $2,000 value that I'm giving you guys absolutely free. So that's just one of the benefits of being subscribed to my channel, basically $2,000 for free. So before I get into your images and start to analyze you guys, please remember that the advice that I give you, you may think to yourself, James, that's not even relevant to my life. None of this is true. But you have to understand that I am the therapist, and this is all in your subconscious mind. So you may not even realize that you have this problem, but you need to trust me that you do and that I know what I'm talking about, and just take my advice. So anyways, let's move on to the first patient, being Quarange, who sends in this image, which if you turn sideways, you can clearly see that Quarange has drawn this image of them sleeping in their crib as a baby and death lingering over top, preparing to take them to the afterlife, which clearly signifies Quarange's fear of dying, which must have you stressed out. Well, my advice to you is to remember that we have no control over anything, and anybody could die at any time, and there's no point stressing about it because there's nothing you can do about it. So my advice to you is to not think about it and just accept that you could die at any time, and there's no point in stressing because nothing really matters in the end. So hopefully that helps you feel better. Next up, we have Frustrated Tiger Studios, who tried to be a little bit cheeky here and send me just a picture of a triangle, probably thinking, oh, he can't make sense out of a triangle. Well, it turns out that I can, because what you didn't realize is that subconsciously you were actually drawing a YouTube play button, which signifies your longing to create YouTube content and become a YouTuber, which I know because I looked at your channel and there's already 2 little cool animations that you made. So I know you actually want to make a YouTube channel. And also your name is Frustrated Tiger Studios. So you're going to be a studio one day. So my advice to you is to just go for it and start making YouTube videos and become the studio that you always wanted to be. After that, we have Jago the Gamer, who sends in this image, which if you flip around, you will see is actually a T-Rex with no legs. Now, a dinosaur represents wanting to get rid of old ways of thinking. So maybe you have an old, outdated mindset you want to get rid of. But what I think it really represents is your fear of a no-leg T-Rex coming after you and eating you. So my advice to you is to remember that dinosaurs are actually extinct and you're not actually in any danger of that happening unless they clone dinosaurs like in Jurassic Park. But as of right now, that is not going to probably happen in your lifetime, so you're safe. Now, the interesting thing about this is that we have another drawing from Sean Berlander, who also sent in a dinosaur, but this time with no arms. So same thing applies. I don't know why you guys are afraid of dinosaurs that are missing limbs, but I've decided that I'm going to start a support group for the 2 of you, and we could meet online maybe once a week and talk about this strange fear of dinosaurs with no limbs, and maybe we can continue to work through this together. After that, we have Sarah Davis, who sends a picture that is clearly her about to eat a dog. So this is pretty alarming. This represents her urge to eat dogs, and my advice to her is to fight that urge and just don't eat dogs. But one thing you could do is maybe you could like make some chicken and just pretend that it's dog, and maybe that'll satisfy your urge. It's kind of like eating tofu. People want the taste of meat, but they can't have it because they're vegetarian, so they eat tofu that's flavored like meat. So maybe give that a shot, but just don't eat dogs. After that, we have Justin Hurley, who sends in this image. You're probably thinking this is a tricky one because it looks like nothing, but in actuality, what he's drawn here, again, subconsciously, is an image of a snake eating a snake, 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 but the final snake is holding a police baton. Now, what this represents is, I don't know if you knew this, but Justin's family is actually a long line of crooked police officers. So his grandfather was a police officer, his father was a police officer, and so on and so forth. And they've all been crooked police officers who have ties with the mob, and they do sneaky illegal things on the side. And Justin is trying to decide, should he pick up the police baton as well? Justin is the final snake, and he's struggling with this. He's not sure if he wants to join the family line of business and become an evil police officer. Well, my advice to you is to become a police officer, but don't be the crooked kind. Break the family mold and become the best police officer you can possibly be. This is your chance to change the course of your family bloodline. After that, we have Broken Glasses, who sends in this image here, which if you turn sideways, clearly he has drawn an elephant who is cowering in shame and using his trunk to block what I believe to be another elephant flinging poo at him. Now, keep in mind, this is not literal physical poo, this is emotional poo. So Broken Glasses, clearly there is somebody in your life who is not treating you very well, and you feel the need to protect yourself from them. And my advice is to delete that toxic person from your life and don't put up with that. So just get rid of the emotional poo flinger in your life. After that, we have Jeremiah Krim, who sends this image, which flipped upside down. Clearly he has drawn a picture of himself cowering in fear. Now the problem is, I don't know what he's cowering in fear from. At least I didn't think I did until I saw this image here, which was sent by Jeremiah Krim's brother, which clearly he has drawn an image of Jeremiah trying to practice his karate moves while he is viciously attacking and trying to bite his ankle. So Jeremiah's drawing represents his fear of his demonic little brother, and this drawing represents the fact that Jeremiah's brother just doesn't really care because he's insane. So Jeremiah, I recommend that you distance yourself from your brother if needed, or if there's some way that you guys can patch up this relationship and get control of your brother, that would be ideal. After that, we have Cloud Connection, who sends in this image, which clearly represents an image of Cloud Connection's father holding him as a baby. Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Cloud Connection was actually born with freakishly long legs. And in this image, his father is hard gagging at the sight of his freakish child. So Cloud Connection in this image is clearly showing his insecurity over the way that he used to look. Now, luckily, I can tell you that Cloud Connection has grown into his legs, and he no longer looks like this, but he needs to learn to forgive his father for gagging at the sight of him. And once he forgives, that pain will go away, and he'll live a much happier life. Up next, we have Beth, which is actually my sister, and she sends in this image, which is clearly an image of my mom laying on her back, holding my sister up in a blanket, trying to return her to the storks that dropped her off in the first place because she's such a hideous beast, and she's holding it with her feet because she doesn't even want to touch my sister with her hands. It's too gross. I don't really have any advice for my sister on this one. Sorry about your luck. But then after that, we have an image from JP, which is my sister's boyfriend, and he sends in this image of himself vomiting, probably because he just kissed my sister or something like that. And I don't know what advice to give you on this either, sorry, but you're pretty much screwed, so sorry. After that, we have Xander Russell, who sends in this image, which is clearly him with a giant rhinoceros horn. So in case you didn't know, Xander Russell was actually born with a giant horn coming out of his face. And this picture represents his struggle trying to accept himself for having a big horn on his face. My advice to you is to just own the way you look. Be confident, and other people will accept you as well. So go forth, Rhino Boy. Have confidence, and don't be afraid to be who you are. Up next, we have Patrick Paul, who sends us this crazy image, which clearly is this nasty demon lady with a tree growing out of her head and red high heels on. Now, at first, I didn't know what this meant. There's obviously somebody in his life who wears high heels that are red. That is not very pleasant, and he should probably avoid them. But then I got this image from Patrick Paul's daughter, which, if you turn, it is obviously some man with an anus for a mouth, which made me realize that the Paul family is possibly sort of like the Addams family, kind of like a bunch of scary creatures. But Patrick Paul and his daughter are just regular people, because I've actually seen Patrick Paul before and he looks normal. So Patrick and his daughter, if this is the case and you have these freaky people in your family, maybe it's time for you guys to move away. Or if you love them, then just accept them for who they are and things should work out just fine. After that, we have Flighted Flame, who sends in this image of what is clearly some sort of demonic turkey. Now this means that Flighted Flame has yet to move on from the past trauma of Thanksgiving 2012, where they were attacked by a vicious turkey, and I'm guessing Flighted Flame probably has night terrors and stuff like that, remembering this traumatic event. Well, just remember that that turkey is long dead. Even if it hasn't been hunted and eaten yet, it would have died of natural causes by now. And wild turkey attacks are so rare, it's probably like 1 in a million. So the chances of it happening again are slim to none, so you don't need to live in fear anymore, and hopefully you can move on from this. Up next, we have an image from this person whose name, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. I certainly can't read it, but they sent this image here, which is very obvious, this little moth guy. And a moth represents, in your subconscious mind, somebody close to you who won't leave you alone. So obviously somebody in your life is bothering you. It could be a family or friend, and you want them to go away. So I recommend being straight up with them, being forward and honest, and telling them to leave you alone, and you'll be much happier for it. After that, we have Squid Ulu, who sends in this image, which you're probably thinking, this looks like nothing. How can you possibly read this image? Well, very easily, because it actually turns out that what he has drawn is this image of himself in his signature pointy blue hoodie, and he is holding his stomach while running to the bathroom, while at the same time slurping up a squid tentacle. Now, what this means is that Squid Ulu is ashamed of himself because while he is part squid, clearly, he still has the urge to eat squid, which makes him a cannibal. Now, this also grosses him out, which is why he's running to the bathroom to vomit. So he's struggling with whether or not he should go with his instinct and desire to eat squid and be a cannibal. And in my opinion, I think it's fine because a lot of sea creatures eat their own kind. It's normal. It's not okay for a human to eat another human, but squids can eat other squids. So just go for it and do it with confidence. Don't be ashamed. After that, we have Zacai, who sends in this image, which is quite clearly turned sideways, him riding on a chariot underwater being pulled by a seahorse, kind of like in Aquaman. I even added Zacai in there just to show you where he'd be sitting in the chariot. And this represents his urge to become the king of the sea, but he feels insecure because it feels like an unattainable goal. He doesn't think it's possible. Well, it's very important that you believe in yourself and you believe in your dreams. And if you want to run the ocean, then go for it. Honestly, what do you have to lose? Just go for it. After that, we have Keegan Jones, who sends in this image, which is clearly a picture of his cat that was run over, and he is still mourning the loss of that cat and is having a hard time moving past that pain. Well, my advice to you is to don't try and fight it. Cry it out if you have to. Don't run from your losses in life. Allow yourself to miss your squished cat, and it's okay to be sad. Feeling the sad emotions is how we heal from them. So don't be afraid to do that. After that, we have Rich B. Widow, RBW, who sends in this image here, which turned sideways is actually this demonic Mickey Mouse. This could mean one of two things. Either she's literally afraid of Mickey Mouse turning into a demon and coming after her and killing her, or it represents her disdain for large evil corporations such as Disney. So my advice for her is, if you don't want to support these big evil corporations, stop shopping at Walmart and Target, and whenever you can buy something from a small local store, do that instead, and that'll stick it to the corporations, and you should feel better about things, hopefully. After that, we have Maximus Platypus, and he sends in this image here, which is clearly an image of him packing up his backpack and leaving his platypus family to join a human existence and a human family in Australia. And this image represents the guilt that he is feeling for abandoning his platypus family to live a better human life. My suggestion is that he goes and visits his old platypus family and work on fixing that relationship. I think he's afraid that they won't accept him back because he abandoned them, but I think that if you go back and see how they're doing, they would actually accept you with open arms and you'd feel much better. And lastly, we have Cole Martinez, who sends in this image, which again, you may think looks like nothing, but it's actually this awful, disgusting, half-human, half-praying mantis creature. And unfortunately for Cole Martinez, this awful image I think means that he is just insane, and I don't think there's much help for him at this point. Although praying mantises do oftentimes represent your feelings about a person or a situation that has total disregard for your feelings. So you may feel that somebody is having little regard for you, and you may feel neglected by them. So you should definitely cut those people out of your life. It's either that or you're just absolutely insane. And that's also a possibility. And nothing's wrong with that. If you're insane, that's fine. Don't be ashamed of that. Just be who you are. Anyways, guys, that's all the images that I got. Thank you very much to everyone who sent them in. I hope that I was able to help some people realize what problems they were having. And hopefully I helped you heal a little bit from those emotions. If you missed out on this round of James's therapy, I will certainly be doing more therapy in the future. And let me know in the comments if I was able to help you. And if you feel like you got $2,000 worth of value from this video. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.